Hey guys, Goblin here. Just figured I'd throw together a quick little video demonstration on this new twin strat. I say strat, you could consider this a strat slash technique slash cheese, and a lot of people in post-game chat even straight up just consider it an exploit. So I'm curious to see what your thoughts on this are. But to get right into it, what the strategy involves is downing a survivor, using Victor and placing him directly underneath the hook, like directly underneath, the same way that you position yourself in a hook tech if you're a survivor. And then you make sure that he's facing forward. You place the down survivor on that hook, and as Victor's wedged in between the hook and the survivor, right there, the pole on the survivor, he's rendered unkickable. This is pretty powerful, I would definitely say, because being completely uncookable, you do not have to worry obviously about him being kicked, but you also don't have to worry about the survivor being unhooked without you ever knowing it's about to happen. You can just straight up switch back to Victor, and as the survivors are being unhooked, or the survivor's being unhooked, you just straight up pounce, get a redown, no BT because of no terror radius, and then you go and redown, or you try to down, whoever was trying to unhook. Here's some gameplay footage demonstrating the technique with some live commentary.
Chase with Victor for now. I should be able to get a hit. Alright, do I see a hook nearby that we can use? There's one right here. Someone place him right here, turn him right around like that. So we just hear the one heartbeat, so we know it's just her. But like I said, this is a double-edged sword. They don't know it, unfortunately, so before they realize it, I think it will be their undoing. But I feel like this just should be known at the very least. So here we go. So there she is. She's placed on the hook. Victor, as of right now, to a survivor, is unkickable. They just cannot kick him. So no, I mean, normally the normal twin strat would be to have him be like right here, or off to the side or something. And you can pretty much do the same thing. It's just this just makes him invincible, I guess. But the thing is, once I switch to him, I can't do anything. I can't switch back to Charlotte. I'm just stuck there. So they could technically leave me on the hook for the whole game. So you just redown. If you play it smarter, you can usually get, another one in this scenario. But it's just a dirty slugging technique, and I hate that I don't have any friends in a custom game to showcase this. I guess we have, could be DS. So we'll eat the DS, if we have to. But just to showcase, pretty much yet again, this technique. I mean, it's pretty fucking deadly. Okay, yeah, that was just a bad hit. And then I'm kind of just waiting and hearing for the killer instinct to go off, and I can swap too. So I'm just here, but see, now I'm stuck. She can leave me stuck. Yeah, I'm just stuck. So actually this showcases the double-edged sword portion of it. They can technically do gens and leave me trapped here.
So unfortunately, the Claudette stopped struggling before the Elodie had a chance to rescue her, although I'm not sure she would have, honestly, given the circumstance, and I don't blame her. It seemingly is no counter, other than just leaving the person there. Once Victor has assumed control, there is nothing you can do to avoid him from redowning your teammate, essentially. It's up to you whether or not he has to wait 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds, however long the person has to be on the hook. That's how long he's stuck there. So while I may have been able to point out a couple flaws in this technique, a lot of the survivors I went up against today were unable to counter it in any sort of meaningful way, and actually went so far as to say in the post-game chat that this was considered exploiting regarding, the unkickable victor. Now, I'm actually curious to see as to whether or not these arguments have merit, whether this could be considered an exploit, considering the fact that there are counters to this, even if they're not particularly very widely known, as considering this technique in general isn't very widely known. So I guess the way I'll end this video is by just pointing out again these two counters to this technique. First counter to this is actually pretty simple. By crouching, you can completely avoid Victor's killer instinct radius and can potentially unhook a hooked survivor before Charlotte has a chance to assume control of Victor. And you could potentially get a good baby head kick in or run away or whatever. The second counter to this, and probably the most effective, which was actually demonstrated in the gameplay footage that I had shown earlier, is to keep victors trapped on that hook as long as possible. In order to do this, you just go to the survivor like you would unhook them normally, definitely letting Charlotte know that you're there via Victor's killer instinct. And instead of going for the unhook, maybe just get right up on the survivor, or maybe if you want to fake the unhook animation once or twice, just make sure that Victor is there and, charging up his pounce, ready to go, and then just letting your teammate sit there. Victor is unable to switch back to Charlotte, and he's also unable to move, so the killer is essentially trapped on that hook with the survivor the entire time, which is actually pretty funny, but in the same sense, it's also kind of shitty for that survivor that's on that hook, because his teammates are pretty much leaving him there for the sake of keeping the killer also trapped there. So that was my brief little explanation on the technique, how it's used, and how you can potentially counter it if it's used against you. I think it goes without saying the technique is a little scummy, a little schemy maybe, for sure, but regardless whether or not you want to consider it an exploit, I'm not exactly convinced. It's simply putting Victor under a hook and then hooking someone on him. It's just that simple. It seems like the intended effect of having him be invulnerable to being kicked in that particular spot doesn't seem exactly intended, but it just seems like a byproduct of the way the hitbox mechanics of the game works. Whether you want to consider that an exploit or not, or just an oversight by the devs, again, I feel like is up to debate. Considering the fact that you can counter it, I just want all the options to be out there, everybody to know, hey, this exists, the twins can use this technique, and hey, you technically do have a way of dealing with it to some degree.